So much will be said. I encourage you all. I hope water's already nearby. I hope you are comfortable in your recliners. If you're watching at work, if you're watching on your phone, however you're watching, prepare yourself for this dialogue. Make sure your volumes are turned up. Joy Taylor, get us started. Now, obviously, this is the most polarizing conversation in all of sports right now. It's the most fascinating conversation. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. What's your reaction to Reese's comments?
She's not wrong. You said it's polarizing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
What does the definition of polarizing mean? It means there's one side or the other, right? If it's not polarizing, it's just a cheeky conversation. Mm-hmm. Polarization requires debate, requires passion. People feel very strongly about opinions. They want to argue one side or the other. How did that happen? How did we get here? What she just said, the national championship game. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before Angel Reese walked up to her, did this, and pointed to the ring. This is not my opinion. I lived it. I watched it. It was recorded. It was broadcasted live. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark before that moment. And that's okay, because you can be extremely talented and not interesting. There are a lot of extremely talented athletes and games and series and sports that we don't talk about daily on this show because the public has not shown enough interest in them. That moment launched their careers. And when we started talking about it, I said it then, and it has all played out as I said it would. Well, I didn't know they were going to match up again in the tournament. That kind of broke my way. But this is Bird and Magic. It's not a perfect comp, but it is the path in which launched this conversation, this polarizing conversation that has everyone captivated. Sometimes something interesting has to happen that sparks an interest, that brings attention. Did Caitlin earn the attention by being a great player? Yes. Was Angel Reese in her face doing that because she was winning a national championship, which Caitlin was not doing? Yes. They both needed each other in that moment. It created the conversation. And then, as I said it would, it launched a great platform for this year's tournament, which was very heavily watched, the most ever, and Caitlin came back better than she was the year before, and LSU was good again, and then they matched up again, and then Iowa won this time. And then they both went into the draft, and now they are both in the WNBA, and we care about both of these players. There are a lot of people that care about Angel Reese. That doesn't mean she's as good as Caitlin Clark. It also doesn't mean that what she's saying is not true, because multiple things can be true at the same time. Everything in life is not existing in a vacuum. Just because she said this does not mean that Caitlin Clark is not great and that people are not watching because Caitlin Clark is great. All she is saying is, and she is factually correct, the two needed each other. She was a part of that. And it's inarguable because that is what happened. We were not talking about Caitlin Clark on these shows. We were not debating women's sports and women's basketball on these shows before that moment happened. So what she's saying is true, and multiple things can be true at the same time.
Go ahead, brother.
You want to go?
Somebody got to follow.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to speak from my point of view, right? Because she said we weren't really following the game until they had the arguments, whatever, right? But I wasn't really a huge fan of WNBA, right? I would watch here and there some certain players, but I wasn't like really in tune. But then once I seen Caitlin play, right, before the hand motions and all that, I'm like, dang, is that Steph Curry with a ponytail? That's what I thought, right? So before anything happened with LSU or Iowa, the girl got my attention for the way she was playing the game, scoring 30, shooting threes like it was, I never seen nothing like that before. So that's how I got involved in the game, right? So that's what I seen. So then when we talk about like Angel saying that she had a part of it, you are right about that, she did. I think she really searched for that attention, right? If you really watched what was going on, when Caitlin even did all this, that wasn't even to that team. It was a whole different team. When they played each other, she was seeking for it. She kept trying to find her to do this to her, get the attention. Like, when I watch these girls play, and I feel like myself and everybody else is really watching the women play now, they want to see Caitlin play basketball, right? I feel like all the attention that she earned from playing basketball between the games, shooting threes, scoring points, leading the NCAA and scoring. I think she's a cool player. I think most of her attention she's earned from outside of the game. When I watch her play, I mean, does that look special? You think people are coming to attendance to see some rebounds? She averaged 11 points. Let me get the numbers for you guys, because so much we're talking about here.
8.9 rebounds.
Cool. So 11 points per game. That's the 5th highest on her team, right? And then she averaged nine rebounds. That's cool. So when we look at the attendance, like, who's really watching the games, right? She said it's not just one person, it's both of us. So Angel's team, right, in Chicago. And their attendance, 6,000, 6,000, 12,000, 9,000, 8,000, 8,000, and then 17,000. Whoa, why was it 17,000? Who she played? Who you think she played? Caitlin Clark. Okay? Let's look at the other girl, Caitlin. Let's look at when they have their games. 17,000, 18,000, 17,000, 18,000, 19,000, 10,000, that's pretty low. 16,000, 15,000, 17,000, 17,000, 16,000. So I don't know if it's me or what it is, or these numbers are crazy, but everybody's coming to watch a superstar player. When I watch the games, when I see Chicago plays, I don't see no super crazy game plan defense for Angel Reese. Do y'all?
No.
Right? When I watch Caitlin play, they guard her everywhere. Guard her out of bounds when she's on the bench getting a rest. They guard her everywhere. So all I'm saying is, like, I get what she's saying, but she seek that attention, right? And another thing is, it's obvious she's jealous of Caitlin. Every interview, every tweet, everything is about Caitlin. I haven't yet to see Caitlin even respond to her yet. Have y'all?
No.
So when you asking me like, yo, I get it, everybody's watching women's basketball now, who's the real reason? Well, yes, you are right. Reese has a small amount of that, right? But the other real credit goes to Caitlin, not just because what she's doing outside the court and she's waving her hand on all that. It's because she's giving buckets in basketball, right? And she looks like Steph Curry. And that's simple. And the last thing is, they're not even close talent-wise, though. Let's keep it real, right? Because, like, part of that is I think it's a race component, though, for sure, though. Even in the football, right? When I felt like when there was ever a white player, because, first of all, football and basketball are dominated by blacks, right? That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Okay? So when there is a white player that is really, really good, they love to attach to him, right? To blow it up. That's what it is. That's what's been there for years. But all I'm saying is when I really watch these games, right, me and other people and the other coaches that's coaching against Caitlin, it's the reason why they are guarding her like that. That's the reason why the game plan for a rookie, is being played like that.
Acho?
I'll just answer this, keep it 100. Just be 100 about it. Like, come on.
There's a lot of nuance here, I will say Angel Reese is correct. I don't think Angel Reese is inaccurate. I believe that Angel Reese is incomplete. I don't think she's inaccurate. I believe that Joy is correct. I think there's a little more nuance to it. I had to go back and really do my homework because I always look myself in the mirror, right? People call me out all the time, whether it's friends, whether it's random strangers. I had to look myself in the mirror. So I've asked myself, when was the first time that I mentioned Caitlin Clark? Was it after Angel Reese? So I went back and I did a quick Twitter search on myself. Angel Reese played Caitlin Clark on April 2nd of 2023. That was the national championship game. But I first mentioned Caitlin Clark on March 31st. Why? Because she beat South Carolina, undefeated South Carolina, 36-0 South Carolina. I take to Twitter and say, Caitlin Clark played one of the most dominant games of basketball I've ever witnessed, regardless of gender, age, or level. Just an absolute masterclass. I post a Brock Purdy tweet. Then I say, me watching Caitlin Clark for the first time, I owe you an apology. I wasn't familiar with your game. Now, here's a nuance.
Receipts.
Here's a nuance. That happened on Friday. We don't have a show on Saturday. We don't have a show on Sunday. So we didn't have the opportunity to talk about Caitlin Clark until Monday. Now, I don't know that we would have talked about Caitlin Clark until on Monday had Angel Reese not done this. When Angel Reese says, you can't see me, that did make this more than just a basketball issue. It made it a race issue. And if you don't care about basketball, you still care about the color of your skin. So it transcended the game of basketball. Now people who have never watched basketball a day in their life are jumping into the conversation because they may not care about basketball, but they do in fact care about race. It was imperative for Angel Reese to be into the conversation so that Caitlin Clark could become the star that Caitlin Clark was, because we learned in 7th grade humanitarian class, you need an antagonist. You learned you need an antagonist for a protagonist. Every hero, you need a villain. That's what makes a story a story. Now, the dilemma is when Angel Reese says she doesn't want to be the villain, and now she says she does want to be the villain. The reason that you are primarily a fixture in this story is because you are the villain. Now, whether you want to be it or not, you have to decide. But there are perks with being the villain, because there's stardom that comes with being the villain, because you are a fixture in the story. Do I think we would have talked about Caitlin without the you can't see me signal? No, not to the degree that we have. Not at all. Now, I'm just being honest, we wouldn't have, because then it became a race issue. And the moment it became a race issue, it transcended sports. I do think that Angel Reese is accurate. Angel Reese does play a part in the story. I do think she's accurate. I just think she's incomplete. That would be my take on it all. Angel was necessary.
And before James goes, right, I just want to ask you this question, because you are right. Like I said, she did have a small little part to it. But now we're here, though, right? Now everybody's in tune to women's basketball. Any bar you go to, they playing that like it's WNBA or the NBA, they watching it. But when you turn the TV on, now we hear about the Angel Reese, you hear about the Caitlin Clarks and all that. And when you watch her game, like, does it make you want to watch more?
Personally, no. Personally.
Oh.
I can't speak for anybody else. I can't speak for anybody else.
No, it does not for me.
As with all things in sports, it's not just about the game. This is an entertainment product.
Right.
There are lots of players in every sport that are not the best player, that are not even the best player on their team, that have followings, that have
Very true.
relationships with celebrities, that have crossover value into other areas of the world.
Right.
So it is not a linear path to stardom. And whether or not you are the best player, I can give hundreds of examples of guys who are not the best players on their team, women who are not the best players on their team, that are still superstars. So while what you may be saying is true, Caitlin is a better player, was a better player than her in college. She's a better player now. And she is bringing huge, massive crowds. These things are true. That doesn't negate Angel Reese's stardom. So there are people that are going. There are celebrities that are sitting courtside, not to see Caitlin Clark, to see Angel Reese.
But what I'm saying is, so you talked about being the victim role, right? So if you just an okay basketball player, right, and then all the antics you're doing, after that, then what? Because I don't know what stars y'all seeing, but like either you're a star from the plan or you star from the things you do.
Well, she was a star in college.
What I'm saying
she was absolutely a star in college.
What we saying we watching right now? We saying college don't. We saying right now when you watch her, if you're not going to get that stardom by how you play, which I don't see that changing, but I don't know. Hopefully it does. All the antics you do eventually, what still makes you a star? Because everybody that you can talk about that crossed over, right, to being a star that's not really a good player, like eventually that game runs out.
Objectively speaking, Caitlin is not a great player right now either.
Yeah, but you know that's going to change though.
I'm sure it will. But we don't know that Angel Reese will not keep developing as well. So if we're just projecting,
I mean, they guard her a certain way because they know you won't guard her by a certain way if you don't think she's a star.
Objectively speaking, they're both rookies. So like we can equally say that they may grow. Obviously, Caitlin Clark is a star, and we think she is better, and she will then therefore, by the laws of logic, be better. But the argument cannot just be just about the game, because it's not just about the game, and there are so many examples across all sports that it's not just about the game when it comes to stardom. This is an entertainment product. There's more to it than that.
Really,
I guess we'll see.
So, I mean, like Joy said, both things could be true. And Angel Reese is not lying. A lot of attention came to Caitlin Clark after she waved in her face. She had got a lot more attention. Then once she got a lot more attention, the whole world was like, Lord Jesus, this is Steph Curry on the basketball court. And that is why views in college, that's why views in the WNBA, all that went up, right? Did she bring awareness to Caitlin Clark? Absolutely. Was Caitlin Clark destroying college basketball before the wave in her face? Absolutely. But Angel Reese did bring attention to that. Now, once Angel Reese brought attention to that, Caitlin Clark said, this is what it is, this is true, and she showed you that by beating South Carolina, by beating LSU again. She showed you that she's that type player. Now, the only way I disagree with Angel Reese is because if Caitlin Clark, because she continues to keep saying that she's changing the WNBA too. I don't necessarily agree with that because, and the main reason why I say that is because, did you bring attention to Caitlin Clark? Sure. If Caitlin Clark stays an extra year in Iowa, these numbers don't change for the WNBA. With you being in the NBA saying that you changed the game, they don't change. And the reason why I know that is because if you're not playing Caitlin Clark, it's 8,000 people at your games. The same amount of people that was at your games last year when Angel Reese was not there, right? The draft, people watching the draft went way up. You read all the numbers off of what Caitlin Clark has brought to the WNBA. If she does not enter the draft, even with Angel Reese saying she changed the game, these numbers will look the same, is what I'm saying. So that's where I disagree with her at. And I'm with Shady. At one point, I'm cool with you accepting the villain role. I'm cool with you saying that you rose awareness to Caitlin Clark. I'm cool with all that. But now it just has to happen in between the lines. Yes, you have a bunch of celebrities following. You had that. You had the Megan Thee Stallion concerts. You had all that. But now it has to happen in between these lines on the basketball court. And that is why people is coming to watch Caitlin Clark. And that, you can look up any stat, you can look up anything. That is a fact. So when you say you helped, you did. But if Caitlin is not in this WNBA, if Caitlin is not walking that stage on that draft, you do not change the WNBA like it's being changed now. And if we really keeping it a buck, and I love both of these girls, you were the 7th pick. If I'm right, am I right?
You're right, sir.
Something like that. Yeah.
So it's 6 players that they said, you like that, but you're not like that, because it's 6 people went in front of you. And you telling me you changing the WNBA. Changing the WNBA is a girl that went number 1, is 17, 18, 19,000 people at her game, 2 million people watching the views. Is that a shot at Angel Reese? No, she's a good basketball player, but when you talk about changing the game, it's not even close to what Caitlin Clark has done. Did she help? I will finish with that. Yes. But Caitlin Clark, the way she plays the game of basketball is why these WNBA ratings and everything and fans and all that is the way it is.
And that was just like facts.
It's nuanced because I don't think like Angel's not wrong. That's what makes it.
Everybody here agreed that she helped out. She had a little part of it. She did.
The moment invented it.
Yeah, well.
It can't happen without the moment.
What's it? I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying.
There have been stars before Caitlin Clark. There's been women who could shoot threes before Caitlin Clark. There are great players for years and years and years in basketball before Caitlin Clark.
Agreed.
When did this become interesting to all of us? When?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, you've tweeted about Caitlin Clark. You've also tweeted about a lot of track stars who do incredible things. We do not talk about it on this show. Interesting matters, guys. We talk all the time about who's going to be the next face of the NBA, right? We make these campaigns and we kind of like present, like, okay, this is my guy. Like, vote for Ant, vote for Giannis. Like, we have these ideas of who's going to step into the light.
Right.
But and the pushback on the media is always like, we choose who's important. We don't choose who's important. There's lots of things I'm passionate about that we don't talk about on this show. There's things that Acho's passionate about. He goes to track meets. I ran track. We're not going to do it on the show unless it crosses over into interesting. So we don't get to decide that. The public did. And that happened for a very specific spark of a moment. Angel Reese is not, Angel Reese from a player-only perspective, is not that unique. There are better players than Angel Reese. I mean, there have been more dynamic players than Angel Reese. There are better players in the WNBA now than Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark looks phenomenal. No one's denying her shooting ability. Obviously. But as far as like athleticism or dominating in college basketball, seen it.
Right.
The moment was very specific. And this stuff that Caitlin was doing, like we're saying Angel was doing that. But so we can't separate the two. Like, Caitlin's stardom is owed to that moment. Yes, she is great, but we were not talking about her from an interesting perspective. Athleticism, sure, that's fun, but you have to be interesting. You have to be polarizing. And why was Angel Reese polarizing? Let's be honest about it.
She was the best player in the league.
She's a black woman who was in Caitlin Clark's face, and that compelled white people to have an opinion about what was happening, which has laid the foundation for everything that we're talking about now in this very.
But it's not just a regular white girl, though. See, that's my thing. So you are right.
Of course, it's not a regular white girl.
The white girl you talk about is the best player that we've ever seen and so when you talk about, like, I get it because she's a black woman. If Reese did that to another black girl, we probably won't be talking about this.
We would not be.
But the thing is,
if a white girl did it to Caitlin Clark, we wouldn't be talking about it.
The thing is, right? So race did happen. So we are agreeing with you. Angel Reese had a little part to do with that, yes. But all I'm saying is that you did it to the best girl playing, right? And then when you look at the numbers real quick, because I don't want to go to all the numbers like James talked about, but I was like, so after a while, right, when everything is settled, all the attention, everybody's watching. You say celebrities, everybody's watching. Right. So now when we watch you, though, right, and we seeing it, like, how are you going to continue to start them? Because I've seen a lot of guys that be stars and do all these antics and all this crazy stuff, and then what happens? Do you get what I'm saying?
I do get what you're saying, but they're both rookies, so we don't know. We will have to wait and see.
But when you watch her play, even in college, when you watch her play, I mean, are all the stardom coming from? We want to see some.
She was one of the best players, one or two on her team, and they were national champions and went back.
You do sports all day long. I'm with you, and so I know you know who's nice, who's not nice.
I'm not arguing who's better.
All I'm saying is, when you talk about the villain role, you have to take that role because what else role you going to keep or going to get to be a star?
Yeah, but she didn't ask for the villain role. The villain role was assigned her.
What I'm saying is
she has to be that now, though, Shady. Like that wasn't her.
What I'm saying,
can I
say last thing to her?
Please do.
Because I get what you're saying. Though. What I'm saying, when you accept the villain role, my question to you is like, what other role are you going to accept? Because I don't see superstar in the talent and the skill set in her. Right? When you watch the game, because everybody's viewing now. I'm talking about 19,000 people and all this, and 2 million viewers and all that. So when we watch you, though, right? where's the starter going to continue to go at? Because skill-wise and play-wise, I don't think nobody on his desk sees that. Or am I tripping? If I'm tripping, please let me know.
But I don't know why. I don't know what one has to do with the other.
If you got the attention now you got everybody's attention.
Right.
Right? Supposedly the superstars know that. What I'm saying is, how you gonna keep that level of excitement?
I guess it's kind of like the way to maintain the attention is by continuing to be the villain.
Correct.
Because the reason in which we're talking about Angel right now, the reason we're talking about the Chicago Sky is because Kennedy Carter decks Caitlin Clark. If there is no deck, we're not talking. But we're also not talking about Caitlin. Back to Joy's point of, we're not talking about the game. We're not talking about
the games. We're not breaking down
We're not talking about Caitlin on Monday without Caitlin getting shoved to the ground. You know what I'm saying?
We gonna find some way to put Caitlin on
eventually.
Right.
No doubt about it.
Okay.
No doubt about it. But the following night, I think Caitlin went 1 for 10 and had 3 points and 3 turnovers. We didn't talk about it, right? Just to kind of try to not play both sides, but understand both sides. So
that's because we are talking about what is interesting.
Now, the point of tension I have, though, is like, Caitlin's role, Joy, in my mind, and viewer in my mind, it's hard to play. Let's remind everybody.
Caitlin's role is hard to play?
Caitlin Clark's role, meaning like Caitlin had a 41-point triple-double against Louisville in the Elite Eight in 2023. Yeah. Then she had 41, 6, and 8 against South Carolina. Beat South Carolina. They were 36-0 family. They were 35-2 the year before. They were 71-2 in their previous 73 games, reigning national champs. That role is incredibly hard to play. Back-to-back 40-point games in the tournament. Nobody had ever done it before.
That's a lot of buckets.
Ever. Ever. Then you get into the national championship game versus LSU. I guess my point of tension, Joy, is I believe that Angel's role is significantly easier to play because doing this is easier than dropping the 41-point back-to-back games. So maybe that's where the point of tension lies. I think Angel is correct. She had to play a role. She had to. The world, it needs an antagonist to the protagonist. That's what makes a story compelling. But when you suggest, and she doesn't suggest equivalence, but when you say that, like, it's because of Me Too, I guess the tension becomes, yeah, but Caitlin had to drop 41 back-to-back, and the whole world was watching. She dropped 31 versus Colorado, and then you gave a you can't see me signal. My final question, I guess, Joy, for you is like, and this is where I just have tension. I genuinely want to learn. Angel, you say that, and many people say, you don't stand alone, that Angel was assigned this villain role.
She was.
She wasn't assigned?
She was. Like, people gave her the villain role. But at the point in which we have, you're cheering when your teammate cheap shots Caitlin Clark.
Sure.
That, to me, is villain behavior. It's not like we just randomly said, hey, you're the villain. Then your teammate who cheap shots Caitlin Clark says, I love to hate more than love. That's what y'all don't understand. Caitlin says, I'll play the bad guy role, etc. Angel says, I'll play the bad guy role. Angel goes up to Caitlin and says, you can't see me. Then beyond that, does the ring me symbol. Why was she assigned the villain role?
Because she's a black woman in the white woman's face who everyone is falling in love with. Okay. We've already all agreed. If this is another white girl doing it to her, then no one cares. You know how we know we don't care? Because Caitlin was doing that all over the court, and it didn't stop anybody in their tracks or clutch their pearls. She did that because Caitlin was doing that. Okay? Now, was she doing it in someone's face? We want to argue semantics, whatever. We know Caitlin talks trash. We can pull up hours of video of her talking trash. We can pull up videos of her shoving opponents. We can pull up videos about this. Sure. Caitlin is a dog also. She is a competitor. She does all the same things. No, she's not doing the Kennedy Carter thing, of course. We have many, many talented people in the sports space. We have talented teams. We have finals that we don't cover. We have all kinds of things that are happening all around the sports world that don't make it to the show. And it's not because these aren't the highest level athletes in the world doing incredible things, other level demigod feats. We just can't fit everything into the show, and what we put into these shows, not just our show, these shows, I'm speaking for most of sports media in the opinion space, is we do what's interesting. And that is not always correlated with the best or the most productive. That is just not how it works. Was there anything that, like, did Angel do nothing to earn the villain role outside of being a black woman? No.
So, I mean, are y'all familiar with her, like, her career, though? Because, like, she's always been like this, though. If you go back to her...
high school, yeah.
Since high school. She's always
playing with a chip on her shoulder.
In your face, talking trash, this and that.
Right. Angel, that is.
That's Angel, though. The difference is that she didn't have the platform. She wasn't a big star at the time. But she's been playing the same way. Right. So when you say the villain role, she's always played like that.
And so is Caitlin. So how did it get into our minds?
But my thing, really quick, my thing is what? Who cares about the villain role? That's what you playing. Who cares about the villain role? All the villains in the WNBA or the National Football League, they on T-shirts and jerseys. We love them. Just because they women, you playing the villain role. Why does that matter?
The reason it matters, James, is because if she has been made to be the villain and hasn't earned the right of being the villain, then she has been victimized because she became the villain not on her own fruition, not by her own merit.
So this is the thing.
Well, there's a difference between being vilified and being a villain.
So the way,
like outside of this incident, right? Let's take this out.
But I'm just saying,
Kennedy Carter thing.
the way you play the game and the way you act.
How does she play it any different than Caitlyn?
You telling me they play the same way?
No, they don't. But this is all I'm saying.
Caitlyn is an angel.
I'm not saying
she's never
I'm not saying she's an angel, but
she's never in anyone's face. She's never physical with anybody. Like they play the same way. They're both competitors.
They play the same way.
Well, you're going at the
I'm not talking about even the trash talk. I'm the competitive nature. I don't think they play the same. Look at the interviews. Do they talk the same with them? No, they don't. You can't tell me watching Caitlyn and watching Angel, like they come off to you the same.
Well, see, I think she's just talking about the competitive.
That's what I'm talking about.
They're talking about the same thing.
That looks the same to you?
They're talking about the same thing.
The chippiness, the fire, yes.
I guess
is it different chippiness? I think the main thing with Angel Reese, right, is she waved the hand in the face. We've seen her cussing at coaches or, as they walk in.
Yeah, come on, and it's the same.
But a lot of people
what are we talking about?
Have given her that villain role because of these incidents. You can say, dang, they just gave it to her.
Which one is,
that's what I'm saying. I don't know.
That's where I have a hard time, and I genuinely I both want to understand it and I want to unmask it and unveil it because I'm more sitting on the shady side and I don't want to sit here ignorantly. That's why I'm like, if I'm wrong, hold on, James, please. If I'm wrong, it's an educate me thing. But again, I haven't seen Caitlin Clark talk trash to an opposing coach. I haven't. Maybe I'm wrong. I haven't seen Caitlin Clark say after beating UCLA, get out your money, get a bag. Obviously, she's quoting somebody. Again, I may be wrong. I haven't seen Caitlin Clark intentionally antagonize. Obviously, she did the "you can't see me" signal to the bench. Yeah. So I haven't seen her celebrate when somebody else gets cheap shotted. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not
you
perfect.
Know you're not wrong.
But I could be. I could be. But I'm just like, there's clearly a blind spot that I have. Yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out. That's why I'm asking Joy. I don't believe it's just because she is a black woman. But I'm not a black woman. So clearly, there's ignorance on my side that I would need to.
My genuine confusion is part of the reason, outside of the way that Caitlyn shoots the ball, part of the reason why she is an entertaining and electric player is because she talks trash. I was at the Fever Sparks game. She hadn't hit a three all night. Took bunches of them, but not one dropped. Every time it went up, the whole crowd, is it gonna go in? When it finally did, what do you think she did? Do you think she just jogged back to the other side?
No, she showed emotion.
Or does she start doing all this, which she always does, and she should, because she's a competitor and she's playing a game she's passionate about. She does the same thing.
But
you're going to get the tweets of the videos. It is the same thing as it should be.
It's all about what you like, Acho, right? If you like the chippiness, whether it's to a coach, whether it's to a player, whatever it is, you're gonna take that. No, I'm talking about Angel Reese, the villain role. You're going to take that as being a dog, being a competitor. If you're like, man, that's uncoachable. Why is she talking to another coach? Why is she doing this to other players? Why is she standing up clapping? If you're taking it that way, then you're going to put her in the villain role, right? I have two boys. I refer to my boys a lot. My older son, responsible, cool, calm, collected. My younger son, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, right? So, my older son, you can go. Can Jordan come too? Nah. Not if daddy ain't there, because he got a screw loose. You got what I'm saying? But you know, and that's part of it. Does it mean Jordan a bad kid? Absolutely not. But I know that, hey, right now, people look at you, bro, from some of the stuff that you've done as a villain. Right? Daddy knows you the best. You're not a villain. You're not really like that. But it's all about where you are going to put her in that category. If you think that that's competitive, ooh, she chippy, she fiery in the coach's face.
Okay, sorry, producer, sorry, Colvin, sorry, Heller, sorry, all the things. If her villain, I'm genuinely trying to understand. Hopefully, audience, y'all are here with me. If her villainhood was predicated upon her race and gender, why Angel Reese? Because there are a lot of black women. So, why did Angel become the villain?
Caitlyn Clark. She did it to Caitlin Clark.
Okay, so there was something that she did to become.
I'm not saying that Caitlin Clark didn't earn the stardom that she has. That everything has to combust in the same moment. Like you can't plan all these things. Like yes, Caitlin Clark was great. She was a rising star. She was getting your attention. She was getting Shay's attention. She was getting the attention that she deserved.
I think I got the answer to help you.
But all eyes are there, right? We watched this incredible tournament last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
All eyes are there. It's a national championship game. We think Iowa's going to win because Caitlin is on this incredible run. Mm-hmm. And here is LSU being LSU, and they win. Mm-hmm. And Angel Reese does what Angel Reese has been doing, what Caitlin has been doing the entire tournament, being passionate, being excited. And what happens? She did this, and it exploded on Twitter, and it brought a very specific type of eyeball to the conversation.
But let me help out you.
No, because like you said something I agree with. Like you saying that the competitive nature they both have is the same. It's not. Caitlin did this to her teammates to the bench. Angel came to her face and did that a couple of times, right? You talk about cheap shot and doing this and that third, like that's not competitive nature to me. Right?
I'm not putting cheap shot. We're putting everything in the same pot, and that's not fair.
Well, I got to, because if you cheap shot somebody and you see me hopping up and down, it's like, yo, I'm part of that too. So my thing is, when y'all trying to make it the same, like, yo, they both are super trippy and competitive, no, it's a difference. One goes on record all the time and speaks about being a villain, et cetera, and then one for her whole career, if you really, I did my research on Angel Reese, right? She's been a good player for years, but she's always been like that, in your face, talking trash, and I'm cool, I'll come from that, so I'm cool with that. But we're not gonna act like she's doing that, and then Caitlin's little stuff she's doing is the same thing. It's not.
Really quick, let me try to help.
You have the final thought. Like, guys, go to break.
Let me try to help you out. So obviously, this right here helped Angel Reese as much as she's saying it helped Caitlin.
Sure.
Right? And that is the main reason why we are even highlighting any of the stuff she does outside the basketball lines too. Whether it's talking to coaches, whether it's hand in the face, whatever it may be, right? Playing dirty, however you may look at it, right? She got this attention from doing that to Caitlin. And that's how she got the villain role. Because the girl that just cheap shot at Caitlin Clark been a villain with what they've been reporting.
Yeah, right.
She ain't talked about on this show, right? The main reason we have her in the villain role is because she did this to what we think is the best player to ever play WNBA basketball, and the numbers show it. College and WNBA, if you're going by the numbers. Obviously, she's a rookie, but I know that. But by the numbers, because everybody coming to watch her play.
Sorry,
what a conversation. I can't apologize. Producers, yes.
We gotta have a thing that says, a segment says, keep it a buck. We need that, because I don't know, we not keeping a buck all the time. We need a button, keep it a buck.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.